Alright, I really know this has been discussed into oblivion already. There are a ton of videos about it, but I just can't not talk about it. I mean, it's probably one of the biggest things to happen in the private server scene in the recent past and probably ever. So Legacy, Classic, whatever you want to call it, servers were announced at BlizzCon. WoW Classic they call it. And I'm super hyped. We don't have much info right now, but that won't keep me away from just babbling on about it and just trying to discuss a few things, a few ideas I have in mind, speculations, what may happen, what hopefully won't happen. So if you're interested in my opinion on all of that stuff, this might be the video for you. So I don't really have that good of a structure here, just a few things I would like to address. And the first point I'm just going right into, will this mean the death of private servers? And for me that's a pretty clear yes and no. And with all the things that I'm going to talk about now, I'm just going to assume that Classic WoW will be really Classic WoW as we know it. Breck already kind of confirmed this, like he really said that it will be 100% Blizz like as it was, no custom stuff. So I think in order to discuss the future points in this video, this is something we just have to keep in mind. Otherwise, like, this will be even a whole nother discussion. Because, and I'm going to cut that scenario short, if it's really going to be something different, something along the lines of those so-called pristine realms, then yeah, of course, private servers won't change that much. It will probably stay the same. So yeah, again, let's just focus on a real Blizz-like WoW Classic experience. So if WoW Classic is going to happen, then realms that really just focus on vanilla content, like for example, Nostalrius, Light's Hope, Elysium, Kronos. Servers with that focus will probably die out to some extent. At least the smaller servers. I could imagine that the bigger players might stay around, and the reason for that is that Blizzard won't give out this classic experience for free. I'm pretty certain that there will be a subscription fee. Not too sure how yet, if it will be even something separate from the live experience, like from the live content on the realms. Who knows? Like a lot of stuff again, unclear so far. But the point is, we are going to pay for WoW Classic, and this is something that still will keep people away from playing, just because they can't afford it. And well, private servers might be always there, especially for people like that. But, and this is a big but, this is where like a whole new problem will evolve, and this is why this news is so huge. The thing I'm talking about is that, well, with playing private servers right now, you always have this kind of, let's say, justification. Okay, you know, we can't experience the game as it was anymore. It's more like something like an emulation. You once paid for it, you want to play it, and the game that it is recently on the market, like with the recent patch, the live version of the game, is just something completely different. This is also one of the reasons why I never quite understood the thing with Legion servers, Legion private servers. I mean, yeah, again, it's something about not being able to pay for it, but that's like justification for thievery in my opinion. Like the really good point you always could make about playing private servers that were like focusing around really old content is that it's just something you can't experience anywhere else anymore. And I mean, of course, this will be one thing that is just completely off once WoW Classic releases. So it's very interesting to see what kind of legal justifications this will affect, and if it will even affect anything. I'm still not too sure how big networks like Warmane or Twinstar manage to survive for that long, if it's really something about a location. I mean, apparently it is. All the Europe and NA big players were shut down quite fast, and yeah, I know it's kind of a meme to say hosting in Russia is safer, and there's been a lot of contradiction about that, but I can't get the feeling away that it really might have something to do with that. So the point is, if WoW Classic is going to release, will Blizzard do more? Since they already don't like the idea of private servers and they are strictly against it, I think that much is clear. But like releasing WoW Classic might be the final piece they needed in order to just go even for the big guys. I mean, otherwise the community might be a bit too upset, but this time, if they go this time, then well, they can just say, hey, you know what, you can pay for it, like we offer it. There's no reason, there's no legitimate reason to actually go on private servers. That might be something at least for Twinstar with Kronos. With Warmane we have a whole nother discussion going there, but I don't want to go into into that much detail. But the point being, and I think this is maybe a good connection to the next topic I would like to discuss here, and this is WoW Classic will probably be just vanilla, at least for 1 or 2 years. So TBC and Wrath of the Lich King servers should be quite safe, or maybe not safe, but they will be much populated and might be even more populated than they already are, just because this whole movement that will swap over to the retail WoW, like private server players and live retail players, will kind of combine themselves, will interact, and yeah, I think they might even get a huge boost out of this whole scenario. So as long as Classic stays Classic and won't go through the expansions, there will be a justification and there will be a huge player base that is still going to enjoy Wrath of the Lich King, Cataclysm, Pandaria, and of course TBC content for sure. So I just dropped like a number 1 to 2 years in terms of lifetime of an official WoW Classic server. And with lifetime, of course, I don't mean they are going to shut it down after that. Although it might be pretty interesting to see like how long this is going to go. But I would like to talk about how much time will go through the progress, like through the patches, until you are, let's say, at Nexramas or pre-patch TBC content. And I'm pretty certain it won't be around 2 to 3 years, more like, again, 1 to 2, just because we as players evolved. There are guides, we know about the raid bosses, we know pretty much everything. We were able to train on private servers. The mechanics of those bosses are pretty simple and straightforward. It still will be very time consuming, just in terms of like grinding out equipment or reputation, and well, of course, having new players who don't really know about those bosses. But all in all, like all things considered, I really think we won't need that much time to go all the way through the old content, and that leads me to believe that we are going to have WoW, like official WoW, TBC, official WoW, Wrath of the Lich King, Cataclysm, and so on servers, because you have to keep in mind every time like 1 to 2 years go through, like also the retail World of Warcraft experience is going to develop, and the need for like wanting to enjoy older content will always be there, and like the time difference will stay the same. So for example, you have a new expansions in 2 years and you're going to release a new old expansion on those classic servers. So this is one of the most exciting parts for me, because even though I really like vanilla World of Warcraft, I enjoy TBC and Wrath of the Lich King even more. I guess another big thing we could talk about are those custom servers, for example the Ascension World of Warcraft. I kinda hope that Blizzard is going to not just accept them, but maybe even support them to some extent. Like I really hope for something like those old Warcraft 3 days where a lot of good stuff came from customizing old maps. I mean, one of the biggest games to date is Dota 2, and that evolved from an old Warcraft 3 modification. And I kinda hope that they are going to have the same policy about custom servers, since it's just going to be such a different experience for everyone. And I guess the nice thing is, since they, like Blizzard themselves, will never put something out like Ascension WoW, like a classless server. I just don't think so. They having their hands full with just putting out the game as it was. So in that sense, I think Ascension will survive on its own. And again, maybe even get more players, since the community is going to group up. But all things considered, it would be a dream come true if Blizzard will change their policy about realms like this. Okay, one last point I really would like to address is like what kind of population are we talking about when we talk about WoW Classic servers. There have been a lot of huge speculations, like ranging from around 50k all the way up to, I don't know, millions, 3 to 8 million players on WoW Classic realms. And this is a very interesting topic, at least for me. I personally think that we are going to see a huge amount of players, especially at the early stages of the game, like the early days. I think everybody is going to check it out. Of course, a lot of private server players are also going to hop right on. With that being said, I think we could estimate around 3 to 4 million people checking out the World of Warcraft Classic realms. But in all honesty, I could imagine we will see a significant dropout around 3 to 4 months into the game. after players experienced a really nice old school leveling, after they cleared their first bosses, enjoyed their first raids, it might get a bit too grindy, maybe even a bit too time consuming, or like the mechanics are just not the stuff that they are used to with the current state of the game. And one thing that will play a huge part in this is really the subscription model. Like if you would be able to play World of Warcraft Classic with your retail subscription, like if those are combined, because then people are going to hop on and off here and there, at least the casual ones. Like if you are hardcore, then you will have to decide for one or another. And another thing that is going to play a huge part in this are the downtimes on the retail versions of the game. What I mean with that is like a content drought. For example, when the last boss of an expansion is down and you have around 8 to 10 months until the next expansion drops. So all those factors are going to influence the population of the classic servers. But I think to talk about a stable number after a while, maybe it will stay above 1 million, 1 to 2 million would be my guess. But again, there will be ups and downs, and there will be a lot of factors that we can't really talk about yet because a lot of information hasn't been released yet. Okay guys, this should do it for now, at least for some sort of first opinions, first impression video. I know there's still a lot of stuff we can talk about, and I really hope that Blizzard is going to release a bunch of new information soon. One thing I really did not want to address in this video is if the whole pristine server thing is going to happen, since I really don't believe it. I really think they are going to nail the World of Warcraft Classic experience as it was. So I hope you are not too disappointed that I didn't make this a huge topic in the video. And if you're interested, like in my opinion, on the release date, I would imagine around the midst of 2018, maybe the end of 2018. That would be my guess. So stay excited, guys. Don't get too overhyped. And please let me know what you think about this whole situation in the comments. And if you did enjoy this video, if you did take something away from it, then please leave a like, would be much appreciated. I thank you very much for watching and hope to see you in the next video. Until then, stay awesome and bye.